Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive right in. For the past few years, we've kind of just thought of artificial intelligence as a really smart, really fast assistant, right? You ask a question, you get an answer. But as we look at the monumental shifts happening in 2026, that era is already completely in the rearview mirror. We are entering this incredibly transformative phase where AI isn't just a passive chatbot anymore. It's literally evolving into an autonomous, world-changing digital partner. So today, we're going to break down the exact breakthroughs making this possible and unpack what it all means for the future of how we work, build, and discover. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Smarter, not bigger AI. 2. The rise of agentic AI. 3. Open source democratizes AI. 4. The Blackwell compute engine. And 5. AI accelerates scientific discovery. All right, Section 1, Smarter Not Bigger AI. The end of raw scale. For a long time, the whole AI arms race was literally just about building bigger and bigger models. But, raw scale eventually hit a wall. Enter something called self-verification. In the past, the biggest hurdle for complex AI tasks was just the buildup of errors over time. But self-verification gives AI internal feedback loops. It actually allows the system to autonomously verify its own work and fix its own mistakes, completely without human intervention. It's a massive deal. Think back to just 2024. Deploying AI basically meant constant human babysitting. Every single step of a multi-hop workflow needed someone watching over it to make sure the AI hadn't just hallucinated something wild. But now, in 2026, we have self-aware, auto-judging agents. Because they actually check their own work, they're finally reliable enough to handle serious enterprise-level solutions. And because these reasoning capabilities have improved so drastically, the whole bottleneck for building new products has fundamentally changed. Believe it or not, English is now literally the hottest programming language out there. And AI's ability to execute code has completely bridged the gap between everyday language and computers. You don't have to sit there memorizing Python syntax anymore. You really just need to creatively and clearly articulate what your goal is. Moving right along to Section 2, the rise of agentic AI. Meet your digital coworker. So, what does a digital coworker actually do? Well, while traditional AI just responds to whatever specific command you give it, an agentic workflow is a whole different ballgame. First, it independently plans out complex workflows. Second, it executes those multi-step tasks. And third, and this is really the magic part, if it hits a roadblock, it adapts autonomously to figure out a workaround. It's thinking on its feet. And guys, the financial impact of this shift is absolutely staggering. $200 billion. That is what the agentic AI market is projected to skyrocket to by 2034. Just for context, it was only at $5.2 billion in 2024. We're talking about a massive 38 times expansion here, and it's being driven entirely by businesses rushing to adopt these autonomous decision-making systems and enterprise automation. If you want to know exactly why businesses are pouring billions into this, take this brilliant real-world example from a company called Danfoss. Back in 2024, their average customer response time was 42 hours, almost 2 days. But by 2026, they integrated AI agents to automate 80% of their transactional decisions. The result? Those response times dropped from 42 hours to near instant. That's a 99% speed improvement. This is exactly what we mean when we talk about AI that truly works for you. Okay, Section 3, Open Source Democratizes AI. Power to the people. Now, you might be sitting there thinking this kind of crazy power is only available to the massive tech giants of the world. But that whole bigger is better myth completely shattered. Take Falcon H1R, for instance. It's an open source model released in early 2026. Despite having just 7 billion parameters compared to the 70 billion parameter legacy models, it scores an elite 88.1% on advanced math benchmarks. It is literally outperforming the giants while using a fraction of the energy. The real secret sauce to this open source revolution is post-training refinement. Instead of trying to build these massive foundational models from scratch, which costs a fortune, nimble startups are just taking open source models and fine-tuning them with highly specialized data. It's total democratization. Small teams can now deploy enterprise-grade AI on totally modest infrastructure. Which brings us to Section 4, the Blackwell compute engine, the physical foundation of all this. Because look, none of this software magic exists in a vacuum. 208 billion That is the jaw-dropping number of transistors packed into a single NVIDIA Blackwell architecture GPU. It is a total engineering marvel. They've basically created this unified superchip designed explicitly for the massive, intense processing power that today's AI models demand. And this architecture is just loaded with features engineered for the AI age. The second-gen transformer engine optimizes scaling so you get double the performance without losing an ounce of accuracy. Then there's the NVLink switch, which lets up to 72 GPUs act like one single massive brain. You've also got a decompression engine to lightning speed your data analytics, and an AI-powered RAS engine that actually predicts maintenance needs before a failure even happens. It's wild. But here is the absolute game changer for the corporate world: confidential computing. Historically, enterprise companies were terrified of feeding their sensitive legal or financial data into AI models, right? The security risks were just too high. But Blackwell introduces this incredible hardware-based security that completely protects sensitive data and AI models from unauthorized access while they are actively being used. And the best part? It does it with virtually zero performance loss. This entirely clears the runway for secure, widespread enterprise deployment. Finally, let's jump into Section 5, AI accelerates scientific discovery. Unlocking nature. Honestly, the most awe-inspiring application of 2026 is how AI is just supercharging biology. I absolutely love this quote from Google DeepMind when they introduced AlphaFold 3. Their goal is to, quote, predict the structure and interactions of all life's molecules with unprecedented accuracy. AlphaFold 3 is basically acting as a high-definition window into our biology, computing entire molecular complexes to show us exactly how the tiny components inside our very cells fit together. And what's crazy is that AlphaFold 3 isn't just looking at proteins anymore. It can actually predict the joint 3D structure of DNA, RNA strands, and ligands, those small molecules they commonly use in drugs. By seeing exactly how these fundamental building blocks interact with one another, researchers are getting at least a 50% improvement over older prediction methods. It is fundamentally transforming drug design as we know it. And this scientific boom, it extends straight into the doctor's office too. Just to put this into perspective, when comparing diagnostic accuracy on really complex medical cases, the human average for highly experienced physicians is about 20%. But Microsoft's AI Diagnostic Orchestrator solved those exact same cases with 85.5% accuracy. AI is moving way beyond the research lab and out into the real world. It's actively helping to close the global healthcare gap, taking us from basic symptom triage to deep, incredibly accurate diagnostics. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. We've traced this incredible evolution today, from raw scale to actual smarts, from software down to the silicon, and from the enterprise office all the way to the molecules of life itself. This technology isn't just answering our questions anymore. It is reasoning, it's adapting, and it's discovering right alongside us. So the question I want to leave you with today is this: when your AI truly becomes an autonomous digital coworker, what will you build together? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.